She came into his life carrying nothing but rain and fear. He had nothing to offer, except a couch, a cup of warm water, and a heart that didn't judge. But somehow, that changed everything. For both of them. If this touched your heart, please subscribe. One click means more than you know. The lights of the city had faded several blocks back, swallowed by rusted fences and broken sidewalks. Milwaukee's South Side, especially beneath the aging I-94 overpass, wasn't where anyone stopped unless they had to. But that night, Noah Carter stopped. His city-issued street sweeper truck hissed as he braked at the corner of 13th and Burnham. It wasn't the blinking taillight that caught his attention. It was the girl. She was standing, barely, by the support column, soaked through, her coat clinging like a second skin. Her arms hugged her torso, not for warmth, but for dignity. She wasn't shaking. That was what unnerved him. She wasn't crying either. He killed the engine. Noah glanced at the rearview mirror. His daughter Lily was asleep in the car seat behind him, a half-finished coloring book still clutched in her tiny fingers. He'd picked her up late after his second shift cleaning up after a music festival at Cathedral Square Park. She'd been patient, as always, curled up in the back seat with her pink headphones and strawberry gummies. He stepped out into the rain. "Miss," he said, his voice calm, hands open. "It's past midnight. You okay?" She didn't move. Noah took a slow step forward, careful not to startle her. "You shouldn't be out here alone, especially not here." Still no response. But her jaw clenched. Her eyes, a shade of frost that didn't belong in any summer, flicked toward him. "I'm not a cop. I'm not going to call anyone. He paused. "I have a kid in the truck. I can't drive off without at least asking." She looked down. Her shoes, once white canvas sneakers, were soaked brown and torn at the toe. Her jeans, designer by their original cut, were scraped and muddied at the knees. But it was the necklace tucked under her coat that gave her away. A glint of gold. Not fake. Real. He noticed it. She noticed him noticing. And her walls went up like a storm shutter. "I'm fine," she muttered. Her voice was hoarse, like it hadn't been used for a day or two. "Just waiting for a bus. There's no buses after 10 out here." "Then I'll wait till morning." "In the rain?" Silence. Noah sighed, glancing back at his truck. Lily hadn't stirred. He tried again. "I have a dry couch. I'm not asking questions. I'm offering warmth. That's all." She stared at him for a long moment. Then, with a slow breath that sounded like defeat, she nodded. Back at the house, a two-bedroom rental off West Greenfield Avenue, Noah gently scooped Lily from the back seat and carried her inside. The girl followed silently, arms crossed. She stepped just inside the door, pausing in the threshold like someone unsure if they were allowed to enter. "You can leave your shoes by the mat," he said gently, nodding toward the small rug. She obeyed. Her feet were red, wrinkled. She didn't ask for a towel. She didn't ask for anything. "I'm Noah," he said, setting Lily on the worn floral couch under a crocheted blanket. "That's my daughter, Lily. She's 6. Sleeps through anything." "I'm Claire." He turned. Her voice, though quiet, held a depth that didn't match her age. She looked 22, maybe 23, but her posture had the exhaustion of someone twice that. "You want tea? I got chamomile and something that tastes like fake berries." She shook her head. "Just a blanket." He handed her one. She didn't thank him, but she clutched it close, like a child who hadn't been held in years. Bathrooms down the hall, left of the kitchen. If you need. She didn't move. Noah barely slept that night. He lay awake on the floor of Lily's room, staring at the ceiling. What kind of girl wore a $1,000 necklace and slept under bridges? What was she running from? He had no answers. But he didn't want any. Not yet. In the morning, the rain had stopped. Sunlight cut through the blinds in thin, golden slits. He found Claire in the kitchen, sitting at the small dining table. She had her knees pulled up, arms around them, forehead resting gently against her hands. There was something heartbreakingly elegant about her stillness, like a porcelain figurine left out in the storm. Lily was the one who broke the silence. She padded into the room in her donut pajamas, rubbing her eyes. "Hi," she said brightly. "Are you the princess who sleeps on Daddy's couch?" Claire blinked. Then, unexpectedly, uncontrollably, she laughed. It was the first sound of life Noah had heard from her since that cold, rain-soaked night. And he realized then, this wasn't a stranger. This was someone who had forgotten what safe sounded like. The next morning, the house smelled of yesterday's rain and second-hand furniture, faintly musty, gently warm. Claire woke slowly, not to an alarm or shouting, but to the muffled sound of a coffee machine sputtering somewhere in the kitchen and a child humming off-key in the hallway. She blinked at the ceiling fan spinning above her. For a second, she didn't know where she was. No silk sheets, no glass windows stretching into sky. Just the old, floral couch that creaked under every small shift of her weight, and a knitted blanket tucked around her shoulders. Claire sat up. Her body ached in strange ways, like someone not used to being soft for so long had finally collapsed. Her coat had been dried and folded neatly on the armrest. Her damp shoes now sat by the floor vent, steam lifting faintly from their soles. Footsteps padded into view. Lily Carter stood at the edge of the living room in donut-printed pajamas, her dark curls tousled, one hand rubbing her eye, the other clutching a pink backpack covered in glittery stickers. She stopped when she saw Claire awake. "You're the princess," Lily announced. Claire blinked. "I'm what?" "The princess who sleeps on the couch," the girl clarified, as if it were obvious. "I saw it in a book. The real ones don't need castles." Claire stared at her, and then, for the second time in what felt like years, she laughed. Not the sharp, practiced laugh she gave at parties or charity galas. A real one. Low, surprised, a little broken at the edges. It startled even her. Lily grinned, climbed up beside her, and without asking, placed a sticker shaped like a heart on the back of Claire's hand. "That's so people know you're staying here." Claire looked at the sticker. "And what if I'm not?" Lily shrugged. "Then it'll fall off. Only sticks to people who belong." Before Claire could answer, Noah appeared in the doorway, holding a mismatched pair of coffee mugs, one with faded dinosaurs, the other with a cracked Chicago Bears logo. "You sleep okay?" he asked, voice softer than the man she'd met last night. He looked tired but solid, like someone used to carrying weight that wasn't his. Claire nodded. Thank you. Thank you." Noah passed her the dinosaur mug without a word. She took it with both hands, grateful for the warmth. He didn't press, didn't pry, just watched her over the rim of his coffee. "You hungry?" he asked. Claire hesitated. "I could try something." "Good," Noah said, rolling up his sleeves, "because I make terrible pancakes, and I need someone else to take the blame." 10 minutes later, the kitchen looked like a battlefield. Flour dusted the counter like fine snow. A cracked egg yolk ran down the side of a mixing bowl. The griddle hissed angrily, and the first pancake, shriveled, uneven, vaguely burnt, sizzled in the pan. Claire stood awkwardly beside Noah, spatula in hand, trying to remember if she'd ever actually cooked anything without a private chef nearby. "I think I broke it," she muttered. "You can't break a pancake," Noah said. "Only bruise its feelings." Claire bit her lip to hide a smile. Lily, now seated at the kitchen table with crayons and a juice box, offered occasional commentary. "That one looks like Wisconsin. That one looks like Daddy's shoe. That one looks hungry." When Claire flipped the third pancake and it tore in half, she dropped the spatula and groaned. "I was not made for domesticity," she declared. But then Noah placed a lumpy golden blob on a plate, poured syrup on top, and slid it in front of Lily. "Bon appétit, Chef Claire." Lily took a bite, chewed dramatically, then gave a thumbs up. "It tastes like love and smoke." Claire laughed again, louder this time, head tipping back. Noah smiled, not at her, but at the moment, as if watching something repair itself without needing to be fixed. After breakfast, Claire helped wash the dishes, even though Noah insisted she didn't have to. She liked the feel of warm water on her hands. It made her feel real again. She glanced out the window. The sun had risen fully now, spilling gold across the cracked pavement outside. A single robin hopped along the fence, shaking rain from its feathers. "This neighborhood," Claire said, "it's quiet." "Sometimes too quiet," Noah replied. "But it's honest. People say hi, even when they've got nothing to offer." Claire nodded, then added softly, "That's rare." She didn't explain. She didn't have to. Later that morning, Noah packed Lily's pink backpack with a snack, a book about dinosaurs, and a note that said, "You are brave." Claire watched as he knelt to zip it, checking her shoes and adjusting the hood on her jacket like it was the most natural thing in the world. "You walk her to school?" Claire asked. "Every day," Noah said. "It's 2 blocks down. She knows the route, but I like to see her get there." "I'll come," Claire said. He looked at her, surprised. "You don't have to." "I know." She walked beside them, hands in her coat pocket, as Lily skipped ahead. They passed small brick homes with crooked mailboxes and potted plants on the porch. A woman watering her roses waved. A teenage boy rode past on a bike with a speaker tied to the handlebars, blasting a gospel song. When they reached the school gate, Lily hugged Claire around the waist and whispered, "I'm glad you're here." Claire blinked, then knelt, smoothing Lily's hair behind her ear. "Me too, sweetheart." As they turned back, Noah said nothing. But something about his stride felt different. Not guarded, not suspicious, just present. That afternoon, Claire sat alone on the porch, sipping lukewarm coffee from the dinosaur mug. The street was quiet again. But inside her, something hummed, low and unfamiliar. She thought of her father's penthouse, the staff who never made eye contact, the table where she used to eat alone. The silence there had been heavy. This one was full of breath. When Noah came home with Lily later, arms full of groceries and a box of clearance cereal, Claire stood up. "I want to do something," she said. "To help." "You already have," Noah said, setting down the bags. "No, I mean, properly. Contribute." Noah studied her face, then handed her a list. It read, milk, bread, bananas, anything pink. Lily will eat. Claire looked at it, then smiled. "I can do that." That night, after Lily had fallen asleep in a blanket fort made from chairs and couch cushions, Claire stepped out onto the porch again. The stars peeked through a torn sky. Somewhere far off, a siren wailed. But here, in this patch of Milwaukee where cracked sidewalks met warm hands, she felt something settle inside her. Not safety. Not yet. But the beginning of it. It was the smell of detergent that got to her first. Not the citrusy, high-end kind used in Manhattan dry cleaning shops. This one was heavy, chemical thick, the kind that clung to your fingers and ate away at silk if you didn't dilute it right. Claire Bennett stood frozen in the doorway of Rosa's Wash and Fold, a corner laundromat on 8th Street. It was Thursday morning, and she'd said yes before she'd had time to say no. Noah had called in a favor. Rosa Martinez, a widow in her 60s with bright lipstick and a no-nonsense laugh, agreed to give Claire a trial. "It's not glamorous," Noah had warned. "But Rosa pays fair and she's good people." Claire had smiled when he said it. But now, standing beside the humming dryers, watching lint swirl through glass doors like tiny ghosts, her throat tightened. Rosa glanced over her bifocals. "You ever done folding?" "Not, professionally," Claire replied. "Don't need professional," Rosa said, placing a folded bath towel in Claire's hands. "Just neat corners. Come, I show you." Claire folded. For 3 hours. Sheet after sheet, towel after towel, some still warm from the machines. Her back began to ache. Her nails, perfectly manicured since she was 15, lost their gloss in minutes. She tried not to think of the ivory piano she used to play, the ballroom galas, the champagne poured by staff who smiled without smiling. But it all clung to her like the soft film of dryer lint. A woman came in at noon, yelling about bleach stains on a blouse. Rosa calmly showed her the ticket, marked, "At owner's risk." The woman didn't care. "You think because you hide behind this dump I won't sue you?" Claire stepped forward. "Excuse me, there's no need to—" The woman turned on her. "Oh, you the little helper now? Sweetheart, your makeup's still more expensive than my rent. Go fold your towels." The words slapped her harder than she expected. Claire blinked, jaw locked, but she said nothing. Rosa stepped in, led the customer away, handled it with grace. But Claire burned. At lunch, Claire sat on the curb behind the shop, chewing on a granola bar Noah had tucked into her coat pocket. She could still hear the customer's voice in her head. Not the insults. They didn't surprise her. But the tone. The judgment. As if being too elegant made her undeserving of trying. She looked down at her hands, red from detergent, still trembling. Noah had offered her kindness, Rosa too. But kindness didn't erase humiliation. It only lit a spotlight on pride you hadn't yet given up. And for a brief sour second she thought, I don't belong here. Then she saw it. A box, taped shut, placed carefully by the back door. Her name scribbled across it in looping Sharpie. Claire. She pulled back the tape. Inside, a pair of clean shoes, her own canvas sneakers, now spotless, bleached white again. A note tucked inside read, "If you must walk away, at least don't walk in pain. N." She pressed the shoes to her chest, just for a second. Noah didn't say things. He did things. And somehow that mattered more. When she returned to the laundromat, Rosa didn't ask where she'd gone, just nodded toward a new pile of sheets. Claire tied her hair into a loose bun, rolled up her sleeves, and got to work. That evening, as they walked Lily home from school, Claire remained quiet. Lily skipped ahead, pointing at dandelions. That one's the wish flower, she chirped. If you blow it just right, it gives you forever friends. Claire smiled faintly. I think it already did. Noah glanced at her. He saw the tiredness in her shoulders, the weariness in her hands. But he didn't push. Instead, he handed her a thermos of tea he'd made earlier that afternoon. It was sweet and slightly burnt, like him. Claire sipped. Your taste in tea is deeply concerning. I make up for it with my pancake disasters. She chuckled, then paused. Thank you. For what? For not asking questions. Noah shrugged. Everyone's running from something. It's what you're running toward that matters. She stared at him for a long moment. What are you running toward? He didn't answer right away. Finally, he said, stability. Peace. A childhood for Lily that doesn't feel borrowed. Claire nodded, then whispered, I never knew what mine was supposed to feel like. And for the first time, Noah reached out, not to comfort, not to rescue, but simply to be there. His fingers brushed hers briefly, grounded, respectful. That night, Claire sat beside Lily as the little girl showed off her sticker collection. Stars, rainbows, sparkly giraffes. This one's rare, Lily said, holding up a heart with the words, You matter, across the center. I only give it to people who stay. Claire smiled gently. And what if they don't know yet if they're staying? Lily shrugged. Then I hold it till they're ready. Claire touched the sticker, then her own chest, then Lily's cheek. I hope you'll hold it just a little longer. The next morning, Claire returned to Rosa's wash and fold in a clean sweater, her shoes laced tight, her chin just a little higher. When Rosa handed her a pile of men's shirts, Claire didn't flinch. She folded slowly, methodically. By mid-morning, her hands had stopped shaking. At noon, another customer arrived, an elderly man with a limp and a bundle of work clothes tied in string. Claire smiled. Welcome. I can take those. He blinked at her. You knew? Just finding my feet, she replied. He nodded, then added softly, This place keeps us going, you know. Claire glanced around, at the rows of machines, the faint hum, the quiet dignity of it all. I'm beginning to understand. Later that day, she passed Noah in the hallway at home. He paused when he saw her. You okay? Claire looked him in the eyes. I folded 100 towels, got bleach on my sleeve, burned my thumb on a steam press. And I'm still here. Noah nodded. That's more than most people do in a week. Claire leaned against the wall, smiled. I think I'm learning how to be someone without the resume. At Rosa's laundromat, white sheets had a way of telling secrets. They arrived tangled in grocery bags, tied with shoelaces, smelling of fried food and floor cleaner. Some carried remnants of childhood drawings. Others came stiff with hospital starch. And sometimes, just sometimes, something beautiful slipped through. Claire was finishing a load from a Tuesday afternoon delivery, a local diner's linens, heavy with the scent of grease and lemons. Rosa had left her alone to manage the front while she visited her sister in Waukesha. It was Claire's first solo shift. She wanted to prove she could handle it. She lifted a bundle of dry whites from the dryer, hot, soft, harmless, and carried them to the folding table. Her motions were smoother now, almost second nature. Fold, tuck, align corners. She no longer thought of her past life while folding, The rhythm had become meditative, until something cool and hard slipped from the folds and clinked against the floor. Claire froze. The necklace lay under the table, nestled in a heap of clean sheets. Not a knockoff, not costume jewelry. A strand of pale pink Akoya pearls, interspersed with tiny platinum hearts. Custom designed. One of a kind. Her breath hitched. It was hers. Not one she wore now, but one she'd kept. Hidden. Last week, she'd been wearing it beneath her coat when she collapsed into sleep on Noah's couch. In a moment of quiet routine, she must have stuffed it into her sweater pocket, tossed the sweater into the laundry pile she offered to wash, to help, and forgotten. Now, in a room that smelled like bleach and fabric softener, the past had rolled back into view, quietly, unmistakably. She reached for it, but her fingers trembled. She hadn't meant to bring this part of herself here. The necklace wasn't just expensive, it was recognizable. Richard Bennett had given it to her on her 18th birthday during a party at the Four Seasons penthouse in Chicago. The press had covered it. Socialites had gossiped about the design. Somewhere, photos of her in that very necklace still existed online. If anyone saw it, they would know. Claire looked around. No one. She clutched the necklace tightly, heart thudding like a bird trapped in her ribs. For a brief second, the air in the laundromat grew thinner, the fluorescent lights colder. She stuffed the pearls into her pocket, but it was already too late. A bell jingled as the front door opened. Claire flinched. A man stepped inside. Middle-aged, leather jacket, camera bag slung low. His beard was trimmed, but his eyes were hungry. "Afternoon," he said smoothly, scanning the room like a wolf in a lamb shop. "Is Rosa here?" "She's out," Claire replied quickly. "Back later." He tilted his head. "Shame. I was hoping to get some press shots of small businesses, human interest stuff, local charm." Claire didn't respond. His eyes landed on her face, stilled. Something shifted. He narrowed his gaze like a painter recognizing a silhouette from memory. "You ever been to Chicago?" he asked slowly. Claire's stomach turned. "No." "You sure?" She turned her back, feigning busyness. "We don't allow photography here. Owner's policy." Silence. Then the sound of a shutter. Claire spun. The man lowered his phone, too quickly. "Sorry, pocket slip." She stared him down, voice low. "Delete it." "Didn't take anything." "Then show me." He smiled faintly. "You're not the kind of girl who usually folds linens." She said nothing. He reached into his jacket pocket and dropped a card on the counter. "In case you're tired of playing house." Claire didn't touch it. He left. Only then did she breathe again. That night, she didn't speak much. Not to Rosa, who returned with stories about her sister's new dentures. Not to Noah, who cooked Lily's favorite mac and cheese from a box shaped like dinosaurs. Noah watched her, though. Not the way men watched women, but the way someone watches the sky before a storm. After dinner, Claire sat on the porch, twisting the pearl necklace between her fingers. She didn't realize Noah had stepped out until he was beside her. He didn't ask where she got it, didn't ask why her hands were shaking. He simply sat, quiet, present. Finally, Claire whispered, "He knew." Noah waited. He took a picture. I don't know if he recognized the necklace or me or both. But he's a hunter, the kind that follows scent and sells it. Noah looked out toward the street, lit by a single flickering lamp. Then said, "Do you need to go?" Claire hesitated. "I don't know." Noah nodded. Do you want to go? She shook her head. Tears pooled in her eyes but didn't fall. I don't want to run anymore. And then he said something she didn't expect. You don't have to explain, Claire. Her lip trembled. Why not? Because I see who you are now, and that counts more. Inside, Lily was sticking heart-shaped labels on her bookshelf, assigning names to each one. Daddy, Claire, Miss Rosa, Mr. Dog at the corner. Claire knelt beside her. Lily handed her one sticker. It read, Brave. For you, Lily said. Claire's eyes welled. Why? Because even princesses get scared. 2 days later, the first ripple hit. Noah was restocking shelves at the corner store when his co-worker Tim nudged him. Hey man, that your house on the site? Noah frowned. What site? Tim pulled up his phone. A grainy image of Claire through the laundromat glass appeared beneath a gossip blog headline. Missing heiress in Milwaukee? The photo wasn't clear, but it was enough. Enough to plant doubt. To draw eyes. Noah stared. The blood in his face drained. He closed the app and drove straight home. Claire was in the kitchen making lemon tea. She turned as he walked in and saw the look on his face. I'm sorry, she whispered before he could say anything. Noah shook his head. Don't be. Just tell me what you need. She blinked. You're not angry? I'm not surprised, he said quietly. I just didn't expect it so soon. Claire bit her lip. They'll find me. Then we make sure they don't find you alone. That night, Noah moved Lily's mattress into the living room, just in case. He double-locked the doors. He didn't say a word about what she should do. Only offered protection, not as a savior, but as someone who chose to stay when others would walk away. Claire curled up on the couch, still holding the necklace. It no longer felt like a burden. It felt like a choice she had to make. The black car pulled up without a sound. No screech of tires, no flash of sirens. Just a long, obsidian-colored sedan with windows darker than confession booths, sliding to a stop at the curb like it knew its destination long before it ever left Chicago. Claire was in the kitchen, drying Lily's lunchbox with a dish towel when she saw it. One blink, one exhale, and the past she had been holding at bay came knocking, not with fists, but with silence. Noah looked up from the couch, his face tightening as soon as he followed her gaze out the window. The rear door opened. A man stepped out, tall, silver-haired, his suit pressed like judgment. Richard Bennett hadn't aged poorly. He had aged precisely, like a man who treated time the same way he treated people, as something to be controlled. Beside him stood a younger man in sunglasses and an earpiece. No words were exchanged. None needed. Claire gripped the dish towel so hard her knuckles paled. Lily, sensing something shift in the air, tiptoed to her and looked up. Is that a bad guy? Claire knelt beside her. Her voice didn't shake. That's someone I used to know. Noah stood up. Do you want me to? I need to see him, she said. Noah hesitated, then nodded. I'll take Lily to the back. No. Claire turned to him. Let her stay. Let her see this. He read her face for a long second, then said simply, I'll be right here. Claire stepped out onto the porch, arms folded tight across her chest. Richard climbed the 3 wooden steps without touching the railing. His leather shoes didn't belong in this neighborhood. Neither did his expression. "I expected a motel," he said coolly. "Not a bungalow." Claire didn't answer. "I assume this is voluntary?" "It is." "Then I assume the reports are true." Claire straightened her spine. "What reports, Father? That I've survived a month without silverware or surveillance?" Richard's gaze sharpened. "You disappeared. With no word. You left behind everything. Your foundation, your board seats, your obligations." "My freedom," she cut in. He blinked. "I left behind my suffocation." Richard exhaled through his nose the way he always did when board members disagreed with him. "I'm not here to argue. I've arranged for a private flight. We can be in Manhattan by midnight. Security will handle the press. We'll prepare a statement. A sabbatical, perhaps. A wellness leave." Claire felt something twist inside her. A sadness too old for her age. "You think this is something to explain away? A publicity blemish to smooth over?" Richard looked at the house behind her. "I think you've made your point. Now let's go." Then his eyes flicked past her, through the front window, where Lily stood, watching. Claire turned, instinctively stepping in front of the view. Richard's voice hardened. "Who is she?" "Someone I love." He froze. "You're with him?" he asked, gesturing toward the door. Claire didn't flinch. "Yes." Richard took a step closer, voice low. "You are Claire Bennett. You are the sole heiress to Bennett Holdings. This isn't your place." Claire smiled faintly, not out of amusement but revelation. "You're right. It's not my place. It's my choice." Behind her, the screen door creaked open. Noah stepped out, slowly, calmly. His boots scuffed, flannel sleeves rolled. He looked like everything her father wasn't, and everything Claire had started to believe in. "Mr. Bennett," Noah said, his tone firm but even. Richard turned, barely concealing the disdain. "Who are you?" "I'm the man who watched your daughter teach my child how to laugh again." "That's sentimental nonsense." "It's healing," Noah said simply. "You wouldn't recognize it." Richard's jaw clenched. "You have no right to keep her here." "I'm not keeping her," Noah said. "She stayed." That stopped Richard. Claire's eyes shimmered. For a moment she looked at Noah with something so pure it made the sky seem still. Then she turned to her father. "You didn't come to bring me home. You came to bring back your name." Richard didn't deny it, and Claire, without another word, stepped forward. Noah reached slightly, but she held up a hand. She walked down the porch stairs. Her father opened the car door. She stood there, then looked back. At the house. At Lily in the window, holding the sticker that said, "Forever." At Noah. And her heart broke. Because sometimes, to protect the people you care for, you have to step away from them. She got into the car. The door shut. The engine purred. And the black sedan disappeared around the corner like a closing chapter. Inside the house, the silence was heavier than anything Noah had ever lifted. Lily tugged at his sleeve. She left. Noah swallowed. She did. "Why?" He crouched down. His voice barely held. "Because she thought that was the best way to keep us safe." Lily blinked. "But I didn't get to give her my sticker." Noah wrapped his arms around her. "Then you hold it until she comes back." That night, Milwaukee felt colder than usual. Not because of the wind, but because the couch was empty, the tea mug unwashed, the rhythm broken. Noah stood by the sink, staring at a lemon on the counter. He didn't move, didn't speak. He just missed her. Claire sat in the penthouse guest room, staring at the skyline of Manhattan. She hadn't spoken since the plane. She hadn't taken off her coat. Her father had returned to a call about offshore accounts and mergers. No one asked her what she needed. She opened her palm. In it was the sticker Lily had pressed into her hand just before the door closed. Brave. Claire stared at it for a long time, then stuck it to the inside of her wrist. Because even though she couldn't speak it aloud, her heart whispered what her voice could not. I'll find my way back. The cough came first, dry, rasping, then deeper, wet. Then came the trembling. Noah sat on the edge of Lily's bed in the soft half-light of evening, a damp cloth in one hand and a thermometer in the other. The numbers glowed red, 103.4. She was burning up. He had tried everything, fluids, cool compresses, warm baths, even holding her hand through the worst of it like his mother used to do when he was a boy in Racine. But nothing was working. Her skin flushed too hot, her eyes glassy and far away. When he asked her questions, her answers made no sense. Daddy, did the moon fall into my soup? Noah swallowed hard. Not yet, sweet pea. He checked his phone again. The local clinic was closed. The ER was 18 minutes away. His truck's check engine light had just come on. His bank account, after rent and utilities, had $227. The urgent care visit alone would cost over $6,000 without insurance. Noah Carter had been broke before, had eaten dry cereal with water, had sold tools, skipped heating bills, borrowed lunch money from neighbors. But this was a different kind of helpless. Watching your child suffer and knowing love wasn't enough to cool the fire inside her, that was the cruelty poverty never advertised. He held Lily close, rocking gently. You'll be okay, baby. Daddy's got you. But he didn't. Not really. He looked around the room, the paper stars on the ceiling, the sticker chart with gold hearts, the hand-drawn picture of the three of them, him, Lily, and Claire. Claire, who had been gone for 9 days. Claire, who had never truly left the room. Noah barely noticed the headlights outside, not until there was a knock, soft, hesitant, on the front door. He opened it, slow and tired. Claire stood in the porch light, drenched from the light Milwaukee rain, her long coat clinging to her frame, her hair wet and tangled. She carried nothing but a leather purse clutched against her chest. Her eyes met his, wide and stricken. She's sick, isn't she? Noah didn't move, didn't speak. Claire stepped forward. Where is she? He let her in. Claire didn't need directions. She walked straight to Lily's room, where the air was heavy with fever and Vicks. She knelt beside the bed. Lily stirred, lips dry. Claire? I'm here, sweetheart. Claire brushed damp curls from her forehead and pressed her own wrist gently to the child's burning skin. She needs a hospital, Claire whispered, eyes shining. Now. Noah stood frozen by the door. I can't. But she was already reaching into her purse. She pulled out a black leather card case and removed a single platinum credit card, handing it to him like a lifeline. He stared at it. I'm not asking, she said softly. I'm giving. Noah's jaw tightened. Claire, this isn't how I... She is worth everything I have, Claire said, her voice breaking. And so are you. He looked down at the card, then back at her. I'm not proud of needing this, he admitted. And I'm not proud of leaving, she replied. Neither of them moved, but something between them did. Finally, Noah took the card. You coming with us? Claire's eyes filled. Always. The ER lights were harsh and clinical, but the nurses were kind. They whisked Lily away for fluids and tests, one of them patting Claire's shoulder as she passed. Claire sat in the waiting room, hands clenched in her lap, legs bouncing with nervous rhythm. Noah paced. She kept asking for you, he murmured, after you left. Claire swallowed. And you? He looked at her. I told her you were on a mission. Claire smiled through a tear. She always liked spies. A nurse emerged after an hour. She's stable. We're treating her for an aggressive flu and dehydration. We'll keep her overnight. She'll be okay. Noah closed his eyes and sat down hard. Claire pressed a hand over her mouth and cried quietly. The nurse added, She's asking for both of you. Inside the room, Lily lay under a thin blanket, pale but awake, her eyes fluttering open when they entered. Hi, she croaked. Hey, warrior, Noah whispered, leaning down to kiss her forehead. Claire knelt beside her, taking her small hand gently. You came back, Lily said, trying to smile. Claire's voice trembled. I never wanted to leave. Lily held up something with trembling fingers, a crumpled heart sticker, now faded but still readable. Forever. Claire burst into tears. Lily pressed the sticker to her hand. I saved it. They stayed with her that night. Noah dozed upright in the plastic chair. Claire sat by the bed, humming a lullaby she barely remembered from her childhood, a French melody a nanny once taught her. She watched Lily sleep, watched her chest rise and fall. Then she turned toward Noah. I didn't come back because I felt guilty, she said. He looked at her. I came back because when I saw that photo of Lily drawing our names in sidewalk chalk, her voice cracked. I realized I wasn't running away from my father. I was running toward you. Noah didn't speak for a long time. Then he whispered, and I wasn't waiting for a miracle. But you felt like one. Claire reached across the bed and took his hand. No more apologies, no more explanations, just presence. The next morning, the doctor released Lily with prescriptions and strict instructions. Claire paid the bill without flinching, refusing to let Noah open his wallet. He didn't argue. As they drove home, Lily sleeping in the back seat, Noah looked over at her. You coming in? Or just dropping us off? Claire turned her head toward him. I never left, Noah. He nodded, said nothing. But as she stepped onto the porch beside him, her hand brushed his, and he let it stay. Inside, the house was exactly as she left it, but also different. A drawing Lily had made of Claire hung on the fridge. A mug with C written in permanent marker sat in the drying rack. Her folded laundry, still on the couch, smelled like home. She walked through the house, room by room, taking in what she hadn't dared to claim before. Noah followed her to the hallway. You don't have to explain anything, he said. But I want to, she whispered. He waited. I was raised to believe that love came with contracts, with expectations, and that being seen was dangerous. That if someone saw too much, they'd either use it or leave. She turned to him. You saw everything, and you didn't flinch. Noah stepped forward. I flinched. I just stayed anyway. She smiled. a quiet, tear-wet smile. Then for the first time, Claire wrapped her arms around him, not for comfort, but because it was time. Time to belong. Time to choose. Time to stay. The elevator whispered its way to the top floor of the Bennett building, a 71-story glass sculpture clawing at the sky above Manhattan. Claire stood inside alone, arms crossed, heart measured. She watched the numbers blink upward, slowly, steadily, each floor peeling away the layers she had once used to shield herself. She hadn't set foot in this penthouse in 11 months, but it still smelled the same, like lemon oil, leather, and control. When the doors slid open, a butler she didn't recognize nodded respectfully. "Miss Bennett." She walked past him without a word. She knew the route. Down the marble hallway lined with abstract paintings worth more than most homes, around the corner past the grand piano. No one played. Through the glass doors into her father's study. He was there, behind his desk, framed by the skyline like a man carved into the architecture itself. Manhattan shimmered behind him, but Richard Bennett never looked out the window. His gaze stayed fixed on the ledgers, the empire, the terms of control. "Claire," he said, not looking up. "Richard," she replied. That made him glance up. "Come to your senses, have you?" "No," she said calmly. "I've come to tell you I haven't." He gestured to the chair across from him. "Sit." "I'll stand." A flicker of something, irritation perhaps, crossed his eyes, but he said nothing. Claire inhaled. Her voice didn't shake. "I came back here because I need you to hear something, and I need to say it in your kingdom, not mine." Richard leaned back slightly. "Go on." "I'm not angry," Claire said. "I'm not here to fight. But I need you to understand. I'm not your project. I'm not a negotiation to win, a legacy to sculpt, or a thread in your strategy. I am not a threat to contain or an asset to retrieve." She stepped closer. "I'm your daughter, and I finally love myself enough to not need you to love me back." Richard's face gave nothing. "And what is it you think you've found that's worth all this?" Claire smiled, small but steady. "I found a man who listens when I'm quiet. A little girl who saved a sticker just for me. I found a house that doesn't echo when I speak. I found mornings that smell like syrup and burnt coffee instead of perfume and silence." Her voice lowered. "I found a life that's mine." Richard folded his hands. "You're wasting your potential." Richard folded his hands. "You're wasting your potential." "No," Claire said. "I'm redefining it." He stood now, coming around the desk. "And what do you think this world does to people like him? He won't last." "You mean Noah?" she asked. "He's lasted more than you ever have. You have wealth. He has courage. He has nothing." Claire stepped forward. "He has me. And that's not nothing. That's everything." Richard opened his mouth, but Claire raised a hand. "This isn't up for debate. I'm not asking for permission or blessing. I'm not even asking for understanding. I'm telling you, I'm walking away from the empire you built because the cost of staying would be me, and I'm finally worth too much to lose." Silence. The air between them buzzed with unsaid things, with decades of grooming, of boardrooms instead of bedrooms, of PR instead of parenting. Finally, Richard spoke, soft, not warm. "And if I cut you off?" "You already did," Claire said. "The day you stopped seeing me." She turned toward the door. But before she could go, Richard's voice called out, quieter now. "Claire." She paused. "Is it real? This man? That child? Claire turned back. There were tears in her eyes, but her chin was high. They're the most real thing I've ever known. He nodded. Just once. Like a man signing the bottom of a contract he didn't write. She walked away. She didn't cry in the elevator, or on the sidewalk, not even on the train ride back to Milwaukee. She just watched the world blur by, skyscrapers softening into suburbs, concrete yielding to fields, until finally the skyline became low and human again. When she opened the door to Noah's house, it smelled like peanut butter and rain. Lily sat at the kitchen table, coloring. She looked up and blinked. Claire! Claire dropped her bag and knelt just in time to catch Lily in her arms. I saved you something, Lily said, rummaging in her sticker pouch. Noah walked in from the hallway, stopping short when he saw her. Claire looked up. I went to see him, she said. Not to ask. To end it. Noah didn't speak. She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out something small, a velvet box. I didn't bring anything back but this. She opened it. Inside was the necklace, the pink Akoya pearls, the platinum hearts. I want you to give this to Lily one day, when she's old enough to know that value isn't in what something costs, but in what it means. Noah stared at it, then at her. And what does it mean to you now? Claire smiled. It means I don't need it anymore. He walked forward and took her hand. You know, he said, I never asked you to stay. I know, she replied. That's why I did. That evening they walked through the park, Lily dancing ahead with her backpack bouncing behind her. Claire laced her fingers through Noah's. The city lights blinked around them, distant but soft. No limos, no photographers, just the quiet of ducks on the pond and children laughing in the distance. I told him, Claire said, that I'm not a Bennett Fortune. I'm just Claire. And that was enough? Noah asked. It was everything. He nodded. Then let's build the rest from there. The sun hadn't fully risen yet when Noah heard the knock. It was soft, not urgent, not lost. Just there, like the beginning of a song someone hums to themselves without knowing they're singing. He was standing at the kitchen sink, mug in hand, staring at the quiet backyard when it came. Lily was still asleep, curled up in a swirl of blankets and stuffed animals, one leg always escaping the sheets. The knock came again. Noah walked to the door and opened it. There she was. Claire stood on the porch in a soft gray sweater and jeans, her hair pulled back in a loose braid. No makeup, no armor, no explanation on her face, just her. And in her hands, a small brown paper bag folded neatly at the top. Morning, she said, voice light. Noah blinked. Claire. She offered the bag. I brought muffins. He stared at the bag like it might hold a miracle. Banana nut, she added, and the one with cinnamon Lily pretended not to like but ate two of. Noah took the bag without a word. His fingers brushed hers. Claire looked down at her shoes, then back up. Her eyes were steady. I'm not here to ask for anything, she said. Not a room, not forgiveness, not even coffee. He nodded slowly. I just needed to be here, she continued. Not because I have nowhere else to go, but because this is where I go when I want to be real. Noah opened the door wider. Claire didn't step in. I'm not ready to move back in, she said. Not yet. I think I need to do it slowly. Not for drama, but for grace. His voice was low. Take your time. She smiled faintly. I thought I'd come by in the mornings, just until she's tired of me. She won't be. Claire hesitated, then added almost shyly, I can bring breakfast. Noah chuckled. You trying to bribe your way back in? Maybe a little. From the hallway they heard soft footsteps and the creak of Lily's door. A sleepy voice called out, Daddy? Who's at the door? Noah stepped aside. Claire crouched low. Lily rubbed her eyes, blinked, and then, Claire! She launched forward like a firework, nearly knocking the muffin bag to the ground. Claire caught her in both arms, lifting the child easily. Lily wrapped her legs around her like a koala. I missed you every day, Lily whispered into Claire's shoulder. Claire closed her eyes and held her close. I missed you every breath. They sat on the porch steps together, the three of them, while the morning light filtered through the trees. The bag of muffins sat open between them. Lily munched happily, swinging her legs in her oversized pajamas. Claire looked at Noah, then at the mug still in his hand. Still drinking it black? He shrugged. Old habits. I could bring hazelnut creamer next time. He raised an eyebrow. You trying to sweeten me up? She tilted her head. Is it working? He didn't smile with his mouth. He smiled with his eyes. Yes, he said. After breakfast, Claire walked Lily to school just 2 blocks away, the way they used to. She didn't hold her hand. Lily reached for hers. On the way back, Claire stopped at the small market on 9th and Greenfield. She bought flour, lemons, coffee grounds. She waved at the cashier who remembered her name. It felt surreal, like re-entering a play she had once starred in and then exited mid-scene. When she returned to the house, Noah was working on the small herb box outside. He didn't look up right away, but she stood beside him until he did. I was thinking, she said, maybe I could help with dinner tonight. You're cooking? I'm trying. He smiled gently. What's the plan? She bit her lip. Something edible. Noah wiped his hands and stood. You don't have to prove anything, Claire. I know, she said, but I want to. That evening, they ate together, grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup from scratch. Lily declared it the best dinner of her life, even though she picked out the basil. Afterward, Claire helped wash the dishes. They didn't talk about New York, or the penthouse, or the man who built empires but lost a daughter. They just existed. 3 people, 1 kitchen, the smell of bread and butter and safety. Later that night, Claire sat with Lily in her room, reading from a worn paperback fairy tale collection they'd found at the thrift store last week. Lily was already half asleep, her head on Claire's lap, when Noah knocked gently. She's out, he whispered. 5 pages ago. He walked in and sat on the rug beside them. He looked at Claire. I meant what I said, he told her. You don't have to rush. She nodded. I know, but I don't want to stay in between either. He tilted his head. What do you mean? I mean, maybe I don't need to move back in like a guest unpacking a suitcase. Maybe I need to build my place here. A real one. From the floorboards up. He thought for a moment. How do you want to start? Claire smiled. Breakfast, every morning. He nodded. And maybe I take Lily to school, and we make a new family calendar. Color-coded? Obviously. He looked at her then, really looked, and said the thing he'd been holding for days. I missed you. Claire's eyes shimmered. I missed who I am when I'm here. That night, she didn't sleep on the couch. She didn't sleep in a spare room. She slept on a small mattress next to Lily's bed, curled under a blanket that smelled like crayon and lavender. And in the morning, when the sunlight crept through the blinds, she was still there. Not because she had nowhere else to go, but because she had found the only place she truly belonged. There were no ribbon cuttings, no investors, no camera crews. Just a pop-up table, a second-hand umbrella, and a hand-painted wooden sign that read, Carter's Corner Cafe Coffee. Muffins. Kindness included. They set it up every Saturday morning at Mitchell Park, right near the playground where Lily liked to chase squirrels and feed ducks. The first morning was cold enough for coats, but bright enough to make them believe spring might actually stay. Claire had baked the night before, 4 dozen muffins, each batch slightly crooked, perfectly imperfect. Banana nut, blueberry lemon. A wild attempt at strawberry lavender that Lily renamed Princess Pink Explosions. Noah brought the coffee, brewed from the beans he bought with a coupon from the corner market. He had cleaned the rust off the old percolator himself. The lid still clicked unevenly, but the smell that rose from it was rich and inviting. Lily had made stickers, lots of them. Hearts, stars, smiley faces, and one that simply read, "You are loved," in crooked red crayon letters. She handed them out with every purchase. Their first customer was a jogger with headphones and a cautious smile. "How much for the coffee?" he asked, stretching one leg behind him. "Whatever you can give," Noah said. Claire added, "Or nothing. The muffins are free on your first smile." The man grinned. Lily stuck a sticker to his jacket and whispered, "You're our first forever friend." By mid-morning, they'd sold out of banana muffins. A small line had formed, and Claire's hair was covered in flour dust again. She didn't seem to notice. She laughed when the wind blew sugar across her cheek and wiped it off with the back of her wrist. Noah watched her move between the cooler and the tray, her cheeks flushed, her voice soft but steady. She no longer seemed like someone running from a penthouse. She looked like someone who had planted herself firmly in the soil of something real and bloomed. The cafe wasn't just about coffee. It became a place where people came to breathe. Parents stopped by after soccer games. Seniors brought lawn chairs and stayed for hours. A pair of middle school girls asked if they could help decorate the table with their drawings. Claire said yes, before Noah could even nod. By the third Saturday, a teenage violinist began performing nearby. Claire offered him muffins. He refused payment, just played. By the 5th week, someone had dropped off a bouquet of sunflowers with a note that said simply, "Thank you for making mornings feel gentle again." One afternoon, while Lily was helping a boy pick out his sticker, "This one says brave. That means you can try scary things." Claire turned to Noah as they packed up. "You ever think you'd end up running a muffin table in a city park?" Noah chuckled. "I used to dream of owning a sandwich shop." Claire raised a brow. "Really?" He nodded. "After high school, before Lily, before the late shifts and overdue rent, I had a name picked out." "Tell me." "Jack's Jams." Claire blinked. "Like music?" "No," Noah laughed. "Like jam. As in peanut butter and jam, muffins, toast, biscuits, just the basics done right." Claire stared at him. That's adorable. He rubbed the back of his neck. Was supposed to be a place people could come to sit down, not just eat and run. Claire looked at the folding table, the old thermos, the line of customers who smiled even when they weren't buying. I think you're doing it, she said. He followed her gaze, and then added, No, we're doing it. She turned to him, eyes soft. He took her flour-smudged hand and squeezed. Later that week, Lily brought home a drawing from school. It was of a food truck with hearts on the side. Inside were stick figures, one tall with messy hair, Noah, one with a muffin in each hand and crazy red curls, Claire, and one in the middle with stickers all over her face, clearly Lily. She'd written in all caps, Carter's Family Cafe. We share everything but secrets. Claire cried when she saw it, but just a little. That Friday night, Claire pulled an old notebook from a drawer, the kind with leather binding and gold foil edges. It had once been used for social schedules, yacht dinners, and press-ready mission statements. Now it held recipe notes, budget ideas, a sketch of a new sign design. On the last page, she wrote, If wealth was measured in warmth, we'd be millionaires by now. She closed it, smiled, and placed it back in the drawer. One morning, Lily wasn't feeling well enough to go to school. She curled up on the couch with a blanket and a box of crayons. Claire sat beside her, gently stroking her hair. Do you think we'll always live here? Lily asked. Claire glanced toward the window. The little herb garden was growing again. The laundry line swayed with a breeze. The sun painted everything golden. Maybe, she said. Or maybe we'll move someday. Will we take the muffin table? Claire smiled. Of course. And Daddy? Always. Lily thought for a moment. Okay. Then it's not moving. It's just carrying home with us. Claire kissed her forehead. Exactly. That night, as they closed the table at the park, a man in a sharp suit approached. He looked like he'd taken the wrong turn from a downtown boardroom. He studied the table, the sign, the handwritten menus. You the owners? Noah and Claire exchanged glances. We are, Claire said carefully. I've had 3 people tell me to come try your blueberry muffins. You bake these? I do. He nodded. I work with local food incubators. You ever think about scaling this up? Claire hesitated. We've thought about a lot of things. The man handed her a card. If you're ever ready for more than the park, give me a call. Then he walked off. Noah looked at her. Claire stared at the card, then slid it into her coat pocket without a word. I don't need more right now, she said softly. Just deeper. Noah smiled. Same. Chung. They walked home as dusk painted Milwaukee in soft lavender. Lily skipped between them, holding both their hands. She pointed up at the sky. That cloud looks like a muffin. Claire laughed. Then it must be closing time. They reached the porch just as the first stars peeked through. Claire turned to Noah. I never thought I'd build something again, she said. Not after what I left behind. You didn't leave it, Noah replied. You traded it. For what? He looked at her full and clear. For this. It began like any other Saturday. The sun poured through the blinds in soft ribbons. The scent of cinnamon drifted from the kitchen. Lily was at the table with her sticker box open, carefully organizing hearts from stars, bravery from kindness. Claire stood at the counter, slicing lemons into thin rounds for a new muffin experiment. The house around her hummed, not with grandeur, not with echoes, but with presence. A squeaky floorboard, a distant dryer. The creak of the porch swing as Noah stepped outside with a mug of coffee in one hand and his journal in the other. It had been 6 months since she knocked on his door with a bag of muffins and a heart that hadn't yet healed. Now, the healing wasn't a single moment. It was an accumulation of many, Lily curling up in Claire's lap without hesitation, Noah handing her a warm cup without asking how her day went, because he already knew. The small cafe table at the park being painted, together, in new spring colors. Claire wiped her hands on her apron and stepped outside. Noah looked up from the journal. "You made them?" "First batch is in. They might taste like regret." "I've eaten worse." She sat beside him. For a long while they didn't speak. Then she said, "Today's the day." Noah tilted his head. "I'm taking Bennett off all the paperwork," Claire said. "The trust, the last name on the apartment deed in New York, the accounts I haven't touched. I already started the filings." Noah didn't speak, but he listened in that way only he knew how. Deeply, completely. "I'm not running from it," Claire continued. "I'm closing the door, not slamming it, just locking it and putting the key somewhere I'll never reach for again." She looked at him. "I want to be Claire Carter, if that's still something we can choose." Noah looked at the mug in his hands, then at her, then back toward the door where Lily's laughter carried through the screen. "Choice is everything," he said, "and I've already made mine." That afternoon they returned to the park. The Carter's Corner Cafe table was now flanked by 2 new folding chairs, a handwritten tip jar, Lily's sticker fund, and a cardboard sign with a crayon rainbow that read, "Family owned since foreverish people knew them now." They didn't come just for muffins anymore. They came for the kindness, for the stickers, for the way Lily waved at every stranger like they were a distant cousin returning from sea. Claire handed a woman her change and 2 extra muffins for her mother. The woman blinked. "How did you know?" "You looked like someone who worries about someone else before themselves." The woman choked up. "Thank you." Noah passed her a napkin and didn't make a big deal about it. That was his way. A few hours later, Lily pointed at a man sitting alone on a bench. He didn't get a sticker. Claire walked over with a smile. "Would you like one?" The man looked up, surprised. He was in his 70s, dressed in a threadbare coat, hands weathered by time. "You giving those out to old folks now?" "We don't see age," Claire said. "Only hearts." He chuckled and took a sticker that read, "Still here." Noah watched it all from the edge of the table. Not in a hurry, not building empires, just witnessing. That night, Claire tucked Lily into bed. "Do you remember," Lily whispered sleepily, "the first time I called you my muffin princess?" Claire laughed. "How could I forget?" "You weren't even good at baking yet." "Thanks for the reminder." Lily reached into her nightstand drawer and pulled out a faded sticker, wrinkled at the edges but still legible. "Forever." "I saved this for when we were really sure," Lily said. Claire's eyes welled. "I think it's time," Lily added, and pressed it into Claire's hand. She held it to her chest like a medal. "I love you, sweet girl. I love you more." Later that evening, Claire and Noah sat on the porch, each with a mug of tea. The sky above Milwaukee was a watercolor of fading orange and deepening navy. Crickets hummed. A soft breeze carried the smell of someone's barbecue down the block. Claire leaned into Noah's shoulder. He wrapped an arm around her. "You ever think," she murmured, "that all the things we thought we lost were just waiting for us to stop chasing and start noticing?" Noah nodded slowly. "Yeah. I used to think I had nothing left to give. And now, I have everything." They sat there, still, grounded. The next morning, they walked to the park, not to run the cafe, but just to be. They brought Lily's scooter, a picnic blanket, and a mason jar of lemon tea. Noah carried a small radio that played old Motown tunes. Claire wore a sundress that Lily picked out, even though it didn't match her shoes. They spread the blanket near the same spot as always, under the old elm tree by the duck pond. Claire opened her journal. Noah read a book with half the pages missing. Lily collected twigs and leaves for a nature crown. When a woman approached them with hesitation in her step, Claire looked up. "You're Claire Bennett, aren't you?" the woman asked. Claire smiled gently. "I used to be." "And now?" "I'm a muffin maker, a sticker collector, a Lily's mom in progress." The woman blinked, smiled back, and said, "You look happier than any headline I ever saw you in." "I am." As the day faded, Claire watched Lily nap in the grass, head resting on Noah's knee. She looked out at the city, not the towering skyline of Manhattan, but the neighborhood horizon of Milwaukee. Rust and roses, cracks and wildflowers. And she thought, this is not a fairy tale. There were no castles, no magic carriages, no balls at midnight. But there was a man who made coffee exactly the way she liked it. There was a little girl who saved stickers like they were sacred. There was sunlight on a park bench and breadcrumbs for ducks. There was love without contracts, family without blood, home without marble. It wasn't a story of what she'd become. It was a story of what she'd chosen. And that made all the difference. Though born into privilege, Claire only found true happiness in a small home filled with muffin crumbs, warm coffee, and two people who loved her. Not for her name, but for her heart. Family isn't who you come from. It's who you choose to stay for. If you believe love is something we choose, not inherit, subscribe for more heart-healing stories like this one. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to follow the next chapter of kindness.